Alright guys, welcome to Car Reviews Canada's first ever car review. I'm here in Edmonton, Alberta to review the 2020 BMW M340i xDrive. So the 3 Series is basically BMW's entry-level compact sports sedan. It starts with a base level 330i, which has a 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder that produces 255 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque. But if you're looking for something a little bit more exciting, a little bit more aggressive, you don't want a full M version, but you want some performance, some more power, you're looking at this one, the M340i. This one has BMW's famous 3-liter inline 6-cylinder that produces 382 horsepower and 369 pound-feet of torque through an 8-speed sport automatic transmission made by ZF. And obviously ZF, for those of you who don't know, makes one of the best transmissions in the business. Now this particular model is finished off in mineral white metallic. It is an option, you do have to pay for it. BMW only has one color option that's $0, which is a flat white color. If you want anything other than that, or you want a metallic color such as this, you would need to pay for it. Most of their colors are basically $895 Canadian. If you want something more special, something more rare, BMW does offer their individual colors, which are a little bit more expensive than that as well. The interior, as you can see, is finished off in Cognac Vernasca leather. BMW obviously offers more colors than that. They have black, they have the traditional brown, they have the ivory color, which is more of a white, off-white color, and they also offer a black Vernasca leather that also has blue stitching all over it, and also BMW's M colors, the 3 M colors in the side bolsters here and there as well. So in terms of the headlights, this particular model is equipped with BMW's full LED adaptive headlights. These are standard. They come standard in most BMWs anyway. If you do want upgraded headlights, if you want something that gives more visibility, the BMW laser lights do give 500 meters more visibility at night, which are nice. So if you're looking for something like that, you could check that off when you're speccing your car or looking at different models available. These are BMW's traditional kidney grills. Obviously, BMW is known for these. They've been doing this for decades, ever since they started their brand. Unfortunately, BMW's grills have been getting bigger by the model. Every model seems like they have different sized kidney grills. This one doesn't look too bad on this car, at least in person it doesn't. But obviously it's still better than what you get in a 7 Series or the X7. Everyone's kind of confused what's going on there. So as you could probably notice, this is actually plastic here, so it's not functional, but it's not functional on the top rather. If you see closely, there are actually little panels here and there, right, that actually open up and close depending on which driving mode you're in and how you're driving. So if you're an Eco Pro, you're trying to save gas. If you want a more comfortable drive, most likely the car's kidney grills will be closed to let airflow smoothly go over the car. If you are in Sport or Sport Plus mode, you're driving aggressively, the engine does need more cooling, then these flaps will open right up to provide the engine with the extra cooling that it needs. Over here you do have a side air vent. It is mostly closed, but it is slightly opened up from the side to let air pass through. The good thing is, on this model at least, all the vents at the bottom are all open to provide as much airflow as possible. This is something you kind of expect on an M Performance model. And speaking about M Performance, obviously BMW never always had an M Performance division. Their 3 Series were never called the M335i or the M328i. It never used to be like that. BMW has obviously fully branded an M Performance division. They have made these special high performance cars for those people who don't really want a full M model but do want something more exciting. You get everything in this. You get M Sport brakes, you get an M badge, and we'll talk more about that in a little bit. So let's move on to the wheels. These are BMW's M wheels. They are only available on M Performance models. You could probably, they are, I believe, optioned on M550i's, X3 M40i's, and in most M Performance cars. This is kind of like the M Performance go-to wheel for BMW. As you can see in the back, you do have an M Sport brake, which is nice. This is something you expect in an M Performance model. Obviously, it's what you're paying for. There are 4 pistons in the front and 1 piston in the back. Most of you probably don't even know what that means, but and probably don't care anyways, but it is a 13-inch rotor in the back, so it'll give you a lot of stopping power. And it does. I drove this on the way here, and you have to get used to the brakes. They're very grippy, which is something you want. Otherwise, you would have gone with the 330i. In terms of the tires, they're wrapped in Michelin Pilot 4S tires, which are very nice. They're 225s in the front and 255s in the back, so it's a staggered setup. They're 19-inch wheels. I believe that's the most you could go to. There isn't a 20-inch wheel option. I may be wrong, but I believe this is the largest wheel for the M340i at least. So as I mentioned before, with the M Performance division, BMW wants to separate their BMW M Performance models. And what they started doing, and this, I believe I first saw this in the M550i, is most of the trim pieces around the car are a bronze satin finish, and they have continued to do that up until the M340i when this first came out a year ago. So as you can see, the kidney grills, they're all in satin finish. The front vent that I talked about earlier, that's also finished in a different color. The M badge very so slightly is. You could barely notice it, but it's there. Obviously the mirror caps, they are in that satin bronze finish that has the integrated LED turn signals. The wheels, as I talked about, they do actually have accents here and there of the bronze. You see that in the M340i logo in the back, and obviously even down to the xDrive logo and the exhaust tips. They're all different finish to let you know that you got something special. You got the M Performance division of the 3 Series. Now, actually, since we're in the back, we could talk about this. Look at the very, very subtle lip spoiler here as well. It gives it a very, it doesn't give a very aggressive look. Obviously, this is not a full-on M version, but it is something that you would expect from a car like this. Now, if you just open the trunk, this does have the Premium Enhanced package. So if you just kick it underneath, oh, no, that failed. You just kick it underneath, there you go. It'll open up automatically. It'll close automatically as well. It's part of the Premium Enhanced package, as I mentioned. It actually has one of the biggest trunks capacities in the segment. In fact, it may even have a bigger trunk capacity that you may find something like a full-size sedan, like a 5 Series or an Audi A6 or even a Mercedes E-Class. It has 17 cubic feet of capacity, which is absolutely crazy. A Mercedes C43 in perspective has about 11 to 12 cubic feet, so it's a huge amount that you get over its competitors, which is, if it's something which is a priority to someone who's looking for a car like this, then that's something that you may want to consider. Now, does this have, as you can see right there, has BMW's automatic unlocking and lock feature as you approach or go away from the car? That is something you could turn off. So if you just put your hand over the handle, well, it's already unlocked, so it'll just open up. Or you could press on the ridge right there, and the car will lock itself as well. So as I mentioned, the Cognac Vernasca leather looks very nice, especially on the side door over here, contrasted with the black. It is not full leather all around, even though it is an option. This is all soft touch material. You could choose to get the full leather dashboard and the side panels as well if you wish, for a price. I believe it is about $400 to $500 Canadian. As you can see here, there's a brushed aluminum handle, which looks very nice. It feels very nice as well. Again, black plastic here and around, and also the lock and unlock buttons. But it is something that you could option out. You could, for about $300 Canadian from BMW, you could get it in all brushed aluminum, which is something you may want to consider. The trunk button is right there, as well as BMW's to open BMW's front hood. As you can see, BMW have 2 latches in their front hood, which is why you have to push it up twice. In fact, let's open it up and take a look at the hood. Over here, close the door. Let's push it up. There's no stands or anything like that. That's something you would expect from a car like this. Over here is BMW's 3-liter inline 6-cylinder. As I mentioned, 382 horsepower, 369 pound-feet of torque. Nothing crazy going on here, no carbon fiber cover option or anything like that, but they do give you a nice M Performance badge over there, excuse me. That'll let you know that you got something special as well. You just close this up, and since it's both latched, you don't have to go all nice on it. You just throw it down and it should lock right into place, or latch into place rather. Again, it just unlocked for me as I approached it. If we just sit down, it's a low step in height, which is something you would expect from a car like this. It is about 15 millimeters lower than the 330i, which is something someone who's buying a car like this would actually want to lower the center of gravity. In front of me, you're looking at BMW's live cockpit display. It's a 12.3 inch display here, full LED, as well as the main screen here is about 10.3 inches. So in fact, the display here is bigger than the one over here, which might not be a bad thing. You might want more space for your tachometer and speedometer or whatnot, and all the driver information displays to be right there in front of you. It also works very well. As you can see, there's a little M340i sitting over there. In front of me is BMW's M Performance steering wheel. If you have ever driven a BMW, you know their M Performance steering wheels feel very nice. They're very thick. They're very nice to hold. Obviously, you can see they have BMW's paddle shifters. They are nice. They do have aluminum in the front, but unfortunately from the back, it feels like cheap plastic. So if they could, if they were brushed aluminum or something like that, it would feel nicer. Also, what I realized after while driving this is if you're holding the steering wheel over here, you have to kind of reach way in to grab the paddle if you're shifting. So if you're holding the car, it feels a little awkward. If you're driving, you have to kind of reach in and then press the paddle upshift or downshift. Mercedes or Audi, Audi, I know they have it somewhere over here in the corner. Mercedes paddles kind of stick out like this as well. So that is something I noticed. It's not as bad as you would think, but it's definitely something you would notice if you were to sit in the car. Over here, obviously, your headlight controls. You have your auto. You also have your parking lights. So for those of you who don't know what parking lights are for, if you're parked on a side street rather, and you're worried a car might come around the corner and might not see the car if it's too dark, or you're in a street where there's no lights, you can turn on the parking lights for the side of the car that's exposed to the road, just so that you could let people know that, hey, there's a car parked. Even if you're just parked on the side momentarily while you're still in the car, it'd be nice to keep your parking lights on as well. This car is not equipped with, I believe it's not equipped with BMW's driver's assistant package, but it does come with all the standard stuff, your cruise control. You could toggle through your speed, increase or decrease your speed. You could resume button is if you want to resume from the previous set speed that you're at, just in case if you had to brake in the middle here and there. It's a very nice steering wheel, has everything you would need. You have your phone, microphone if you want to talk to the car. This does have Hey BMW. Probably would trigger that. No, it didn't because the car is not on. Volume and up and down, which is nice. It's over here, as well as they have a traditional knob as well, which is very nice. You have all your presets. In fact, just so I could demonstrate that properly, let's start up the car. BMW has kind of gone with Audi's start button on the side. So we just push on the brake, start it up. So there's a nice deep growl. Obviously this does have the M Sport exhaust system, which is nice. So over here, I wanted to quickly show you the presets. Obviously there's traditional preset buttons, which is nice. You don't have to go through the infotainment or anything like that to find a radio station or go to your navigation or go to a sport display or anything like that. And one thing about BMWs, or this generation BMWs, is that if you just rest your hand on it it'll let you know what's on that preset without even touching it. So obviously there's 8 presets. You might forget which what preset is on what station or what you have set on each preset. So if you just slightly put your hand on it, it'll just let you know what's on that preset, which is amazing. This is typical German. They think a lot about this little stuff, which come quite handy when you need it. Over here in the live cockpit display, you see you have your range, you have your fuel tank, you have your speed, limit in the area, and as well as what BMW have done. Oh, it just disappeared right there. But it'll actually let you know every single passenger in the car if they have their seatbelt on or off. As you probably saw a few seconds earlier, if you want to rewind, there was 3 other passengers there as well. Obviously, it said there's nobody in the car right now, but their seatbelts were off, which will let you know without having to check or ask which kids or which people who have not put on their seatbelts. You can just check from your display. You have the navigation in the middle, which is nice. You can configure that. You can change it. You can turn it off if you would like, but I feel like it's something nice to have. You also have your heads-up display. It is gives you a lot of information. I'll put up a picture right now to show you what a navigation looks like. But it gives you a lot of information. You probably never have to take your eyes off the road with all that information being set up there for you. Over here, down here, you have all your stuff to control the iDrive 7.0, which is BMW's new iDrive system. You press home. It's very quick. It's very responsive. It's also touchscreen, which is very nice. You have all your car information. You could go to settings and you could change all the stuff like your displays, as I mentioned, about your instrument panel, as well as the heads-up display if you want to change any information, you want to remove any information. There's also sport display. So if you actually put it into sport mode right now, the tachometer, the digital display changes just a bit. You see there's actually an M logo that comes right there, which is nice. A small little touch. You probably will never notice it, but it's nice. But in the heads-up display, as you can see, it gives you a small little tachometer. So it's in park right now. If I just rev it, and you could hear we're in Sport Plus right now, and those crackles and pops. I'll just lower the window right now. You can hear it. Very nice exhaust. But that's what I wanted to show you. It gives you a little small tachometer, which is something you get in supercars and stuff like that, which is an amazing touch. You put into, okay, let me just zoom out quickly. Comfort, again, a very subtle change. You put in Eco Pro, which is the most drastic change. Everything turns blue. Your tachometer goes, and it kind of gives you your fuel economy and how much you're averaging and all that information that you would need. You have your temperature and everything. Everything's right there. What I like about BMWs is they keep traditional buttons that you would probably use most often, unlike Audi, which have kind of gone towards full screens. They have a screen here and a screen there. It's all nice. It's you could get used to it, but in my opinion, I like the traditional buttons. You have your heated seats for drivers and passenger as well. I believe you get heated seats in the back as well. Ventilated seats aren't an option in the 3 Series. You just can't get them at all, no matter what, which is kind of disappointing considering this car is pretty expensive. I believe this one as Spec'd is about $67,000, just north of $67,000 Canadian. It starts at about $62,500 Canadian. So the $5,000 option is obviously in the premium enhanced package. It almost gives you everything, which is nice. Everything all set up in one package. So getting back here, all traditional buttons. Over here you have your fan and your temperature controls, which are nice. See, they're traditional buttons. They're very nice to use. There is a little bit of a lag if you press it quickly, if you want to turn up or down the heat really quickly. It does take a little bit of time, but if you just press it patiently, it'll eventually get up to the speed which you want. I do not want to turn the temperature too high because it is boiling in here. Again, the fan is up here. If you want to turn it off, you keep going down, it'll shut off. There's a designated rather small screen here, which is nice. It gives you everything. You don't have to. It doesn't have to mess with the screen or anything like that, which a lot of manufacturers have done, which does get kind of annoying. You have to go into the displays and go to it and change it, and then go back to the map. Which just gets all hectic, especially for driving. which is something you might want to consider. So it's amazing here. This is obviously your hazards, nothing special about that rather. This is BMW's driver's assistance that comes standard. Obviously, as I mentioned, doesn't come with the driver's assistant package, which kind of gives you the traffic jam assist and your adaptive cruise control. It's not adaptive cruise control on this one, but things like that. But if you just press this, it'll take you to the system over there. You could either turn it all on. Individual basically means you could turn on some or keep some off, or however you would want it. Or you could turn all of them off. So if you want to turn it all off, if you go there, it'll tell you hold the button down for 3 seconds, and it's this button right here. Just hold it down, and you see the halo goes away. It'll let you know that nothing is protecting you. There's no driver assist. If you just press that on, it goes automatically all on. It's nice. It's not very it doesn't interrupt you or is not very aggressive. Obviously, you could change all that with all the configurability in this car. This is kind of the main menu. This car is finished in the aluminum Tetragon trim, which is kind of like a meshed finish aluminum. That is probably the most, I guess you could say, sporty looking trim. Other than that, there's all brushed wood, brushed aluminum, and I believe there's gloss wood as well. This is the closest thing you'll get to a nice clean finish. Gloss is not my favorite because you got fingerprints all over it, as many of you know, many of you may have already experienced actually. You have all your driver mode selectors here. There's no adaptive button. I don't know if this is missing it. Yes, it is missing it rather. Sorry for that. It is missing the adaptive M suspension, which is surprising. For an M340i, it's not, you have to pay extra for the adaptive M suspension, which was not the case before. Before when the 3 Series used to be called just the 340i, or when it used to be called the 335i. If you got the M Sport package, which gave you the M brakes and all that stuff, you would get adaptive M suspension as standard. So that is something that is questionable on BMW's part. I didn't talk about the auto hold, but let me just quickly go over that. Most of the cars have this button to basically, it will hold the brake for you if you're at a red light, or if you're at a stop. It'll hold the brake, and the second you press on the accelerator, you'll go ahead. But the good thing about this is that it will remember the setting that you were on before you turn off the car. So you don't have to turn it on every single time you start up the car, which is in most cases for most cars. Which is something I just found amazing. I love using this feature. I don't care how short the trip is. I always turn it on, and having that is just amazing. You don't have to worry about it. It's always there and ready to go. There's a small little storage compartment, which is nice. It's pretty big actually, and it comes with the USB-C port. If you're wondering what if you don't have a USB-C, there is a USB port right there. It does have wireless charging, part of the enhanced package, which is nice. You have your glove box. It's nice. It's lined with soft materials, which is good. You close that up, you have your ambient lighting, as I mentioned earlier. It's not as much ambient lighting that you get in most in like the 7 Series or an X5 or an X7, but it looks amazing at night. If you guys ever have a chance to drive this, or you guys own a 330i or own any other BMW for that matter, and you have sit in at night, it looks absolutely amazing. And I quickly just wanted to mention the reversing camera. So if you just put the car into reverse, you have the reversing camera. It comes with trajectory as well, so it'll let you know where you're going. You have your 360-degree camera, which is nice. You also have automatic parking rather. It also has the backup assistant, which I'll put up the videos for the automated parking and the backup assistant right now. So those two features are very nice to use. They help you if you're in need of a situation like that. There is a button here as well, which is if you want to access the cameras if you're not in reverse, you could always check these out. There's also separate cameras that you could check out, like the side wheels, which will give you a picture of your car. I believe it does give you the same color of the car that you have, which is a small little detail that BMW gives you, which is nice. So I just wanted to quickly show you guys this, but let's head over to the back and check out the space. So coming into the back, the seat in front of me is basically, I'm 5'11", and that's where I would sit very comfortably. And if you just sit in the back here, there's a lot of room, as you can see, more than enough space. I'm not crouching back or anything like that. I have a lot of foot room as well. Headroom is nice as well. I have about 2 to 3 inches of headroom, which is more than enough. I'm actually wearing a hat right now, so even considering that I have 2 to 3 inches of headroom, which is very nice. As I mentioned, this does have heated rear seats, which means it does come with a 3-zone climate control. It's not 4-zone, which is surprising again at this price point. Most cars have 4-zone climate control. But it's nice. You have your own climate control in the back for the passengers, heated seats on both sides, which is nice, and you have 2 more USB-C ports. Again, more and more car manufacturers are going towards USB-C ports, even though not everyone has transitioned to the latest iPhone or don't have the latest Samsung. So that may not be the most smartest decision, but worst case scenario, you could probably just order an adapter from Amazon or just buy it somewhere. You have nets here as well to put any papers or any belongings. There is a car seat here. The person who has this car right now as a baby, so their BMW doesn't offer any type of baby assistance package or anything like that, but there are anchors as well for baby seats if we're talking about that anyway, which is nice. It's on all 3 corners, so you could put the car seat anywhere you would like. You have speakers in the back as well. Again, it's the upgraded system, which is it's nice. The quality is very nice with Harman and Kardon. There's black plastic here. It doesn't look the best when you're sitting behind it, but it's nice because, again, if you have a kid and he starts kicking you in the back, you don't have to worry about your leather getting scratched or anything like that. Alright guys, so that should be it for the review of the M340i. I hope have gotten all the information, or if you guys were just watching, then I hope you guys enjoyed it. Or if you're in a market for one, if you have any questions, then definitely let me know in the comment section below. Subscribe to the channel, join the family. Now that we've got a review on the channel, I'm sure more and more reviews will start coming up. as I've planned for the future. Thanks for watching Car Reviews Canada.